So hello everybody, welcome on the next Open Virtualization Pro webinar. I'm happy to have Jarosław Stakun again with me. And Jarek, again, the OpenShift subject, but right now we change a little bit the title, and we today will speak much more about the developers part, yes? So we have what's new in OpenShift 4. So we started in a new few parts talking about how OpenShift can leverage and help developers to work in a daily basis. What I see, we have a new developer toolset. So what do you have today for us, my friend?
Yeah, I think first we will start with short introductions of ourselves. So my name is Jarosław. I'm a solution architect. I work for over 6 years at Red Hat. I'm focusing mostly on OpenShift Container Platform, as well as all the developer-oriented products and solutions at Red Hat, mainly JBoss middleware portfolio. I work in Red Hat in Central Eastern Europe.
Okay. My name is Paweł Mączka. I'm one of the founders of the Storware company. We are really focusing on the data protection. We're saying serve in every combination, cloud, hybrid, on-prem. We also have some idea how to protect the containers part, but it's not the main subject for today.
I will start just with short recap of what OpenShift is. So OpenShift is basically the container applications lifetime or lifecycle management solution. So with OpenShift, you can build your application as a container or set of containers, and then you can deploy this application and manage its lifecycle until it will be retired. So it is based on, of course, on the Kubernetes, which is pretty much a standard for containers orchestration. It includes also a Red Hat Enterprise Linux operating system. With new version, it also includes RHEL Core OS, which is our lightweight version of RHEL. And then on top of Kubernetes, we add all the tools that both administrators and developers might need to build and monitor and manage the applications. And today we will focus on this right top side corner, actually a subset of those tools. So we start today kind of short series of containing or consisting two parts. So today I will talk more about the tools for developers, and the second part will be more focused on the tools that are helpful to manage the life cycle of the containerized applications. So the topic for today, we have four. I would like to show you and introduce to you four different tools. First one is the new web console, which you can leverage to manage your applications on the via web browser. Second one is Odoo, which is command line created specifically for developers to help you quickly build and deploy your applications into OpenShift. Third one is CodeReady Containers, which is kind of single box local OpenShift installation that you can deploy locally on your desktop or laptop. And the last one is CodeReady Workspaces, which is development environment which runs entirely on OpenShift and which you can use to code and build and deploy your applications into OpenShift. So the first tool is Web Console. Web Console has now dedicated developer perspective. So We have kind of selected and limited the number of informations that developer need to access via web console. So you will see it, we created a new perspective where you can specifically work on your projects and applications inside those projects. There is also a new application topology view where basically you can access all the components that your application contains. So as you know, in OpenShift and Kubernetes world, even one single container will consist number of objects like deployments, services, routes, some config map, and so on. And all those components can be accessed in this from this topology view. So now I will quickly show you how this tool looks like in the
Yes,
in the
like
work.
always, we need to have a live demo, not only slides. So I'm glad to have this opportunity.
Yeah, I will show you all those 4 tools, of course, very shortly, but yeah, you can see them live. So here you can see my my OpenShift web console, those 2 perspectives. So currently I'm logged in as a developer, but I have the administrator perspective open, and now I'm switching to the developer console. It takes me to the most recent project I have been using. So here you can see on the top, and you see already the topology of the applications that are deployed in this project. So you can see here we have not very big application which contains like 5 different pods. So as you remember, pods are running containers, so there could be 1 or more containers running in the pod. In our case, actually, I think all of them they run just 1 containers each. So we can here when we click on this the circle, they are called donuts, just like the cakes. So when you click on the donut, you can see
you just grab the donuts like a policeman.
Exactly. So when you click on it, you can see the details of all the components that are related to that specific pod. So if we go actually here into resources, you can see we have the pod running. There is a service which exposes 2 ports from this pod, and then there is a route that exposes the service to our public network, and then we can go deeper into our pod. We can see what kind of resources this pod is currently consuming, all the history of the resources utilization. We have access to the logs of our pod. We can open the terminal session here and call some comments. So for example, you can see my user ID, the user ID of which runs the process here in this pod. So everything handy at your on your hands. Of course, you can do some play with this topology. You can like here group some pods which belongs to the same service or application into the group, so that you can better visualize what is going on.
I understand, Jarek, that if we have, let's say, a big environment, we can go drill down from the topology perspective into the specific pod, into the specific actually container and application.
Yeah, of course, that's exactly how it works here. You can also here quite easily add a new component into your project. So, for example, if you have some application template already created, so you can see here I have a library of quite a lot, over 100 different application templates. I can select one and then create a or instantiate the application that that has been described in this template. So I have here a lot of different parameters that I would need to fill in to instantiate that application. So it's, as you can see, it's all about developer and application without any deeply into the operational part of the application. All right, so as I promised, these are quick demos, so we have to move forward. So the second component here is Odoo, which is OpenShift Developer-Oriented command line interface. So the idea behind this command line is to really provide the developer experience, which is similar to what typically developers are doing with JIT source code on platform. So you can see here some familiar comments that you probably know from if you are using JIT as your source code environment. And actually here also I would like to show you how this works. So let me quickly start with some quick clone of my demo application. This is very simple Node.js application. So the first thing we have to do here is we need to create a project. Actually, I have to remember the order of the command. So we create a project called Node.js demo. Actually, let's see here on the web console, which is here. There is no this project here on the list. You see, I don't have it. So now let's create one. And now we will initiate the Node.js builder, which will basically create for us from the source code running pod, which will have inside the Node.js runtime container. So for that we need to initiate the Node.js builder. I will do here one more thing. So I will create a root for our application so that it will be immediately available from my public network. URL create. We keep here default values, and then we can call Odoo push just like in JIT. And our application deployment has started. So let's come back here. We have a project already, and here you can see donut, which is empty at the moment, but now it starts to fill in with the color, and you can see here that the pod has been built, and now it is starting. It should be quite fast. So now it's running. There is also a liveness check done by the platform before it will become available. But yeah, you can see here now the application has responded to us. So we have created quickly our application, and if we come back to the command line, we can see now that application has been deployed. Pretty much the same way we can now delete our project. So we have a Odoo project subcommand, and then we just have to add the delete and the name of the project, which is Node.js demo.
So the goal, Jarek, is to do not, let's say, going and switch between the UI, so we can do everything.
Yeah,
like
this is
in the command line, so it's even faster for the developers to work with the projects itself.
Exactly. This is typically how developers prefer to work with the with the platform. So they just push code and they run some tests and so on. So this is how you can do it also with this tool. Here you can see that this project is already gone. I mean, you can see it's here, but if I refresh, change to other project, you can see it is gone. So we have quickly created and removed the application from.
Few question here. It's on an OpenShift side. Let's say I'm creating a project. Can I add some description or some priority that nobody will delete it? It depends of the, let's say, roles of the developer. So I'm looking for this.
So for each project you create, you can define roles of some users for some users. So by default, the user who creates the project, like I just created it, has the admin rights in the project, so he can also delete the project. But once your project is created, we can actually try to check it quickly in the web console, but we need to switch to administrator perspective. We can have a look here. Sorry, for example, a project. Within one project, we have some roles defined. There are quite a lot of those roles, but only a few of them some are important. So, for example, the admin. We can list what are the low-level permissions for the role, and then we have role binding. So here we can see that in this project I have just admin user, which is a developer user. So only one user with one role, and we can of course create more. So we can here create some new bindings in the project. So you can do it the same with command line, of course.
Okay, nice. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. So this is about the ODO. The third tool is CodeReady Containers. So CodeReady Containers is a kind of replacement for similar tools which were available in OpenShift 3. So we used to have tools like Minishift, Container Development Kit, and also there was a command OC cluster app that allowed you to spin up OpenShift instance on your box. So for OpenShift 4, we created a new tool called CodeReady Containers. So again, the main goal here is to give very easy to use and set up tool. So what you have to do here, you need to download the CRC binary, so one single file, and then once you run it, first you run command CRC setup, like you can see here, to set up your machine. So when you run it, it will basically spin up a virtual machine on your box. So in my case, I have here running CRC. So it is just regular virtual machine that runs on top of my local KVM virtual machine. The same way you can do it on other operating systems. So you can see here Windows and Mac. And once you set up it, so there is also some networking setup that is done on your machine. You have one more command just to start the instance, and it will start for you let's say fully functional OpenShift cluster running on your local environment. So we can call here the status command, you can see that it is running on my machine, what kind of resources it consumes. And you can also, for example, SSH to that machine. So there is a possibility, there is a SSH key created that you can use to SSH to that machine. You can use all the tools that I have shown you, also all OpenShift client tools, and basically you can see what I'm doing here on this demo is really I'm using exactly this this CRC instance running on my laptop. So you can see here that there is a the testing command, which domain which is created locally on my machine by the CRC installer, and that's how I can access it also via the local network. So it's pretty cool. It requires like 8 gigs of RAM, some 4 CPUs, 2 CPUs should be also fine, and you can run the cluster pre-configured with everything you need to just run your applications in OpenShift. And this is something that really is quite new thing. So you can see here it's still public beta, but when OpenShift 4.2 will be released, you will have it available with full support. Also, I didn't mention that the web console, the new web console I was showing you a few minutes ago, is also a new feature in OpenShift 4.2. So so you need to wait for probably a few days from now to have it fully supported, or you can try the beta if you don't want to wait. All right, so the last tool I wanted to show you today is CodeReady Workspaces. So CodeReady Workspaces is a development environment. So we are just about to release version 2, but we have already available version 1, so you can use it. So the idea behind CodeReady Workspaces is really to give you a development environment that you can run easily from as part of your OpenShift cluster, and all the development coding you will be doing will be done via web browser plugin. So let me quickly show you how this plugin look like. So this is my CodeReady Workspaces IDE. I'm running this instance also on my CodeReady container, so on this local OpenShift environment. So here you can see we have an editor. Let me just quickly start an application here. So here we have Java application. So we have a Maven project. So I'm calling Maven to start the project. Here on the bottom you can see the Java is starting. It starts in OpenShift inside the IDE pod. So everything is fully containerized. So it's running. I can see here the link to the root, which is created for me. Yeah, sometimes we have to wait a while, but now you can see the app is running. So it gives us hello world, and now let's make quick coding, very quick. So just I will add here OVP. It should be rebuilt dynamically. So you can see on the bottom, Spring Boot has restarted. And now let's call it again, and you can see here the new version of our app has been started. So as you can see, you can work very effectively and efficiently with this tool. What you can also do here.
Do did you need to commit anything? Just enter the string and that's all. So everything is doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's all done here locally. So of course, if you in enterprise environment, you will at some point commit your code to your corporate Git repo. But here, while you are just coding, you can enable just auto save, and it will dynamically restart your instance, the instance of your application, and you can quickly test it. Another nice functionality here is dependency analysis, built-in dependency analysis. So you can use that functionality to verify what kind of licenses or libraries that might have some vulnerabilities are used by your application. So this tool is doing some analysis of the libraries based on your Maven configuration, and it gives you here some feedback about what libraries are used, what are the licenses. So my project is very simple. So I have just information that there are some open source licenses, so no issues here. But it would also detect if you use some old version of the library which has known security vulnerability, or if there is some commercial license issue that or requirement for this application for the specific library. And then once you are done, because we have to be very quickly here, we can also deploy this application as a container to our OpenShift environment. So again, we have a Maven plugin here which will do that. And now we can have a look on OpenShift again, web console. So we are in the right project. Here you can see. Actually, you cannot see here much, but in a minute you should see that there will be a new version of the pod running. Let's see. Okay, so it's still no. This process is a bit longer than all the others, but you can see here the build process here is has started. So first it needs to build your Java code and so compile your Java code, and then it create an image. So here you can see it creates some image, and hopefully in a few seconds the image will be pushed to the Docker registry, which is part of our OpenShift cluster. So this is happening now, and then this will this should automatically init the deployment of the new version. So I will leave it as it is. We will maybe come back to this in a minute.
Okay.
There's one more thing here I wanted to show you. So if you don't like or you don't feel confident with using this container native IDE environment, we are also quite heavily supporting Visual Studio Code development environment. So we have built a lot of plugins that gives you very similar experience with OpenShift from this development environment. So this is also a very good option for you if you would like to try. Maybe let's come back now and see. Okay, so here you can see there is no pod at the moment, so the donut is empty. So now you can see we catch now the moment when the new version is being deployed. So here the process has finished from the IDE point of view, but now the new pod is starting. So this time we run Java, so it's a bit longer than typically. We can have a look on the logs if there are already any.
It's like on this dry joke When somebody
now.
knocks on the door, you're waiting.
Oh, but see, we have a log, so Java is starting. Starting. We can let's come back to the topology and just quickly look on the here you can see, yeah, so our OVP hello world version has been deployed to OpenShift, so we make it in 30 minutes. Yeah, so if this is if you find this interesting, those tools, there are two links I wanted to share with you. So first one, learn.openshift.com, is where you can take some labs, so hands-on labs. It's based on the Katacoda platform, so it gives you nice experience, just like you would work with the real platform. If you want to try to install either CodeReady Containers or a new OpenShift 4.2, or which is still a beta for hopefully not long time, or you want to try the fully supported 4.1, you should go to try.openshift.com, where you can download all the software and all the tools that I have briefly shown you today. So that's all from my side. So this concludes our part one, so the introduction to developer toolset, and I hope we will see on the part two, where I will introduce some more tools and solutions for application delivery or lifecycle management.
Okay, so that was, like always, we are in time, so it's great. You said it's take long as a Java. I didn't finalize my joke. I think most of you know it, but somebody knocking to the door, you come by to the doors and says, "Who's there?" You're waiting for a long time, about the 30 seconds, and you hear Java. So, but but today I think the Java made a good time. So definitely was great to see all of the 4 small demos. This is what I said.
Yeah, and actually in part two of our series, I would like to show you Quarkus, which should even improve the time of building and deploying Java applications. So this is also something I will address in the second.
Okay, so stay tuned to the next part with Jarek and myself. So right now I will stop recording, so we'll finish the official let's say presentation and demo. We'll grab some QA session, but after I will stop recording. So thank you for watching us. Please go on openvirtualization.pro, subscribe the newsletter, and please join one of our next webinars with our experts. So thank you. And right now we'll go in a QA session.
Thank you.